Hi guys, it's Mrs. Madison's mom. Today I want to show you how I draw a tree. When I'm drawing, I want my trunk to be wider at the bottom and kind of taper in a little bit like that. Then I don't want all my branches to come off at the same spot. I don't want to have branches one on one side each coming out like this. I actually want to stagger them a little bit. So this branch here is going to splinter off here. And this guy, I want to come up here. Now these lines down here are very straight. You can just wiggle your pencil or pen a little bit and come up like that to give it the texture of the bark that you see on a tree. Now, when a branch comes off of the main part of the trunk, there's kind of this area in here where it kind of grows out. Oh, this should come like this. I usually draw with a pencil so I can erase these things, but I'm doing it as a pen today so that you can see what I'm talking about. So this branch here, there's usually kind of like these grow out of a knot area that the branch actually comes out of. So I want this circle here, and he's gonna come out. Again, I just kind of wiggle it, and my branches will come out in a V shape to start with. And I'm going to give another one over here. Again, they don't always go straight out, they don't go sideways, they've got character, they bend, they wiggle, think of like little worms almost. And they can go any direction you really want them to, like that. And you see this part of the trunk is thicker, the next branches are thinner, and then as I go they're thin and then thin out again. So if I want to add more, these ones here, I will not make them thick. I can just spray them out. And this one, he's got a little guy growing off right here. And then when I think about, so this, like I said, this bowed out a little bit here where this knot was. This tree is going to continue growing up here. And he is going to have a splinter off here and a splinter off this way and maybe one here as well. Again, sticking with the thick, thinner, thin, thinnest, and then down to just a line. This little guy, he's going to come over here. So this tripod tree right now, he doesn't have leaves. That's just my choice at this moment in time, just to show you how I do the basis of a tree. And I shall also show you in a little bit how I would make it if I was to add leaves. This tree would be good for your winter tree, fall tree, spring, I guess, before the buds start coming on. We can add a little bit of those. Don't be afraid to take your branches as well, and if you want one to, jut off this way, and he wants to come out behind this tree here. And then again, this is where I would kind of add, if I was drawing with pencil, I would come in here and erase that if I decided to add a branch in that area. The next step would be to add some knots and do some bark lines. So when I do knots, it's almost like a question mark idea, but let's make him long like that. Then I'm going to come up and I'm going to follow, not perfectly, from one side to the other side. And I don't want to go all the way to the bottom. I don't need to add too many lines. And again, this one you noticed I made this line curve because I know that this branch is there. And again, I could go like this and spin it around and make another knot in my bark. As the branches go up and out, you can follow that path as well. And this, you could just add a little bit of a V spot. And again, if you want to add some knots on the branches as well. curve it around again because I have that knot where this branch is going. If I was to color this, what I would choose to do would be to color my light brown first, and then maybe take a dark brown pencil or dark brown ink marker like this here, and that's where I would go over it with these knots and bark lines after I had already colored. If you wanted to change up your shades of coloring. Okay, so that is how I did my tree. Again, if I had my pencil, if I was doing this with my pencil with eraser, I would erase this so this in here wasn't so messy. Now at the bottom of the tree, I'm just going to scooch this up. At the bottom of the tree, your roots would be underneath. There's a couple options here. You could have it so you have a root that is exposed over top of your grass. And again, this is where I would continue on. Oop, he kind of spiraled there like that. And then he's gonna come here. And I'm going to grab these bark lines to come along there. And my grass would kind of be in this area here. With grass, if you want to add with color or marker, I'm going to actually grab my pink to show you. So for my grass, instead of just going spiky, spiky grass, what I do is I go wiggle, wiggle, spike it, wiggle, spike. And you could have some going the other direction. If I wanted to color this green and then with a dark green over top, I would just go wiggle, wiggle, spike, wiggle, and spread it out. Sorry, that's not showing as much as I wanted it to. So then you don't have to, it's kind of like you're just drawing little tufts of grass. Yeah, I like these ones better over here than this one. This one, I think I have them going in too much of the same direction. I do appreciate how sporadic these are. If you wanted to draw leaves, if it's fall or spring, you can just add a few little teardrops here and there. And if it's little buds, so if you just took a little bit of green and you added a couple little dots to simulate buds. If it was fall, you could also cause some leaves to be falling off the tree and add a pile of leaves randomly on the grass. And when I colored these, if it was fall, what I would do is some of my leaves would be yellow, some would be orange, some would be red, and maybe some would be a little bit of green fading into red. So again, that is how I draw a tree. This tree is very much spring or fall, just because he doesn't have as many leaves on him. If you want to make this tree into a spring tree, to add leaves, you could draw as many of these types of teardrop leaves as you wanted to fill it up and do them in various shades of green. However, to make it a little bit faster, you can, I guess it's almost like cloud-like. Each little one, I'm gonna do more of a foreground. And then a little bit in the background. As you go up top, you can make a bigger area. And now if I was to color this, I would choose a light green in the background. This is my fast coloring. Okay, so you've got your green leaves, and then if you want to take another, obviously you're not going to have purple leaves like here, but you can take another green and add in all these other leaves that you want in there. Another thing you could do is you could add a little bit of darker shading in various parts, kind of going in a, if you do in a circular motion, kind of gives it a little bit of texture. And you could again go in with another shade and add a little bit. Oh, this one's very sharp. He doesn't, I like, oh, there we go. You just soften up the edges a little bit on my pencil just so I get more of a shading type coloring, opposed to if I was to color like this really hard. I kind of just want a dull flat area on my pencil so I can color really lightly, and if you want to, you can press harder. That's how I choose to color, and then it also makes it easy if I do want to give it shading and blend out my colors a little bit. And that is how I made my tree into a spring and summer tree.